My name is Liz Partsch,
And I am Paul Rowley,
and welcome to Farm and Dairy's virtual newsletter.
where we will be giving you a rundown of all the news this week.
Yes, and we got some news.
We do indeed.
Yes, so this week I wrote about the new research released by the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Agricultural Research Service.
Oh, this sounds like a big deal.
Yes, it is a big deal. And they identified the cause of the record-breaking honeybee losses this year.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So according to the USDA, commercial beekeepers have lost 60% of their bee colonies since last summer.
That's a giant number.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Very,
appropriate use of that sound effect.
Yes. So the study, which collected samples from 6 major commercial beekeeping operations, identified Varroa mites as the cause for bee population declines.
I never would have guessed. But
Yeah, but to be fair, these mites have been around for quite a while, actually. So Varroa mites are an invasive parasitic mite native to Asia, and they were first found in the U.S. in 1987, and then since have really just expanded across the country. Yeah, so Varroa mites, they feed off of bees' fat bodies and can also transmit diseases like deformed wing virus, which causes twisted and shriveled wings and other bad deformalities.
Evil bee Ozempic here.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And this weakens bee colonies, leading to decreased lifespan and then ultimately death. And so the study found that 78% of bees sampled contained deformed wing virus, and 72% of bee colonies had high levels of acute bee paralysis, which is another mite vector disease. The study, and now this is the big finding, also found that mites have become resistant to one of the most common miticide treatments that commercial beekeepers use called amitraz. But this isn't really new because, over time, and since the 80s, they've been coming out with these miticide treatments. And 2 other miticide treatments had already become, mites have become resistant to these 2 treatments since the 90s.
Wow.
Or in the 90s, they became resistant. So it's a big deal. And according to Patty Sundberg, president of the American Beekeeping Federation, this is really a critical moment for honeybee health. We're seeing a lot of these declines. It is also, she mentioned, it also means we need more management tools to be able to fight back against these mites because, they're not going away.
Right.
And being, pollinators play such an important role with agriculture and pollinating our crops. So, yeah.
Well, that's really scary. I hope the bees can come out of this one strong. We love the bees here.
Yeah, of course.
Well, I have something from contributing writer Patrick Cooley. So let's talk switchgrass. So what is it? So it is a tall, very hardy, very deep-rooted type of plant that has been growing quietly in some pockets of Pennsylvania, which is really cool. I actually want to become like the first ever switchgrass influencer. I think it needs to be like TikTokified. Like it's very, very cool and kind of deserves to have a moment, honestly, like in the sun. It does have a moment in the sun. It's literally a plant, but I'm talking full on social media moment. While it's been praised for doing everything from preventing soil erosion to serving as really like good bedding for livestock.
Love that.
Yeah, right. Applause. It hasn't really found its footing yet as like a mainstream crop. But groups like the Northeast Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education Program and also the Association of Warm Season Grass Growers, they're working to change that. Like they really believe in the marketability of switchgrass. As do I. They've been awarding grants to folks. They've been helping fund equipment development and also helping farmers better understand why and how to grow switchgrass. One thing to note is that switchgrass is a thoughtful king. It takes a long time to sort of like really live up to its potential and really do its thing and grow. As a naturally slow person in almost every regard, I really respect and admire that. Will Brandow, he's the chair of the Grass Growers Association. He kind of described it like this. He's been cultivating switchgrass for years and is like one of like the converted who will sing the praises of this plant. His fields in Luzerne County, Pennsylvania are actually growing switchgrass up to like 8 feet tall. So it's gotten there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very tall.
Oh my God. That's crazy. You could just like walk through a forest of switchgrass.
Right, exactly. But it took 3 years to actually grow to it that length. So, and that's one of the hurdles really of this crop is that there's really no easy buyer for that, and it's not an overnight type of plant. Like you really need to cultivate it for a while. Farmers who stick with it, though, they really are seeing payoffs, not just in harvest, but in also environmental benefits, like streams that are near switchgrass where it's grown, they're running clearer, which is really cool. The runoff is reduced. It's a good plant for that kind of thing. And then even erosion really slows down. It's really good at slowing that down and keeping the land, together. But the market for switchgrass remains limited. There was a PhD student in the article that Patrick wrote who studied it and said that it's not really economically viable yet on a really large scale. And that's holding farmers back from really like adopting switchgrass in a really meaningful way. So research, though, continues to work on, matching regional switchgrass varieties with practical uses and like really sort of help get it off the ground. There hasn't been a spectacular breakthrough yet for this crop, but we're certainly, after I read the article in the paper, it really kind of made me a believer that it deserves one. So will all of that effort be enough to sort of make switchgrass the next big thing? I guess you'll have to read for yourself in the paper to find out.
Go check it out. Sounds like, something that, is getting a lot of momentum there.
Yes, very much.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, in our progress edition this week, I wrote about a new PFAS-free firefighting foam called SoyFoam.
That's exciting.
Yes, but before we get into it, I think we need a little background on what PFAS is.
Please.
Yes, so PFAS, known as the forever chemical because it stays in the environment forever, it's basically forever, is a chemical compound created in the 1940s to repel water and oil. And because it has these properties, it is seen in numerous household products, including cleaning products, food packaging, most commonly in nonstick cookware, cosmetics, and a lot more stuff.
Okay. Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah, right? That seems appealing.
Yeah.
So the chemical has also been used in firefighting foams known as aqueous forming foams.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And by the military since the 1970s.
Oh, okay.
And firefighting foams are important as they're more effective and efficient with putting out fires. Firefighting trucks don't need to haul as much water because it does, a good job.
Yeah.
But PFAS has caused alarm across the country in the last few years after it was found to be toxic to human health and to cause cancer.
Oh, no.
And this is the case for many firefighters, as cancer is the leading cause of line-of-duty death.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Reports the International Association of Firefighters.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is kind of how... that's why Crossplane Solutions, really developed SoyFoam because they had firefighters coming up to them being like, hey, firefighters are dying, like we need your help.
Yeah.
So SoyFoam, which contains soy flour derived from contains soy flour derived from soy meal.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and according to the Ohio Soybean Council, 79.2% of a bushel of soybeans consists of soy meal, with soy oil making up 17.8%. And soy oil really has a big market, but we have so much of this soy meal that really isn't being utilized, which Dave Garley, Chief Technology Officer at Crossplane Solutions, had mentioned to me, as well as Brendan Kern, who's the Deputy Executive Director of the Ohio Soybean Council.
Cool.
Yeah, so really there's this overabundance of soy meal that's really not being utilized. So SoyFoam can really help with that overabundance, and it's also creating a new market for soybean farmers, which a lot of people were talking about.
Yeah.
So as the words really spreads on this new PFAS-free, product, SoyFoam had its debut in Ohio recently.
Oh, hey.
For the first time on March 31st, when the Harrison Township Fire Department held a demonstration, putting out, cars that were lit on fire.
Oh, wow.
With SoyFoam, yeah. So it was really interesting to witness.
Yeah.
And it's really just people are saying it's a really good thing because it's going to be saving lives for farmers, or saving lives for firefighters, but also, creating these new markets for farmers.
Yeah,
So,
that's exciting.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I did a little progress story too. I got to visit a business called Trail Tire, and it is conveniently located in Dundee, Ohio. And that's where I met Joel Martin, a longtime employee there, who spent the past 8 years or so doing more than just fixing flats that might, roll into his shop. As the company's agricultural and specialty tire consultant, I think that was his title. He's helped turn what was a single service truck operation going, basically making house calls to help people with their giant tire problems, into like a one-stop shop for farmers navigating really complex, tire systems and machinery and also terrain, because very, very hilly in Dundee. What drives Joel is not just growth for the business. He has a passion for solving problems, whether it is breaking down European tire technology that might be really Byzantine for a local farmer to try to understand, to responding to emergencies after hours as his job as a paramedic, which is like, he's a paramedic. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. And I've been watching a lot of medical dramas on television recently too. And at least as far as I can tell how it is depicted on those shows, being a paramedic is not easy. So thank you, NBC and HBO. That mindset that he has, though, of solving problems has made a really big difference in what is kind of rapidly evolving in agriculture, which is tire tech. A lot of systems on tires and on tractors, they come with like air suspension systems, which you might find on trucks. And they allow tires to sort of like adjust to like the terrain, and performance wise. Low pressure means less soil compaction, and then like better fuel economy and also higher yields, which we'd love to see that for our farmers. So Martin's job is really just to kind of help match those needs and match farmers with like the right tire. One standout, it's I have no idea how to pronounce it, but it's a European brand that they actually import directly, and their tire uses this really cool, innovative curved tread design that allows the tire to improve road performance when it's on the road, but also like grip the field better when it's like in the fields.
Oh, wow. So it's like
Um,
dual purpose.
Exactly. It's really neat. And obviously, again, I'm going to talk up those hills forever in Dundee because even I had to try to master those with my really old station wagon with the ball tires. So we barely did it. I could definitely use some better tires, and you can read all about those ones and more in my progress story. So check it out.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds like a cool story. You got to check out.
Yeah.
Well, I wrote another story in our progress section this week about the father-son run business Seed Genetics Direct,
Ooh,
located
interesting.
in Jeffersonville, Ohio.
Tell me more.
Yeah, so father Chris Jeffries started his first seed company, Seed Consultants, in 1990 after growing up on a small, grain operation and having, experiences in agriculture.
Mhm.
And in 2010, he sold the company to DuPont, DuPont, which is a company,
Right. Okay.
and a big corporation,
Yeah.
and stayed with the company for a few more years. But over time, he didn't really agree with some of the business decisions his new corporate bosses were making. He, kind of saw them putting stakeholders first over farmers and their customers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So in turn, he wanted to start another seed company called Seed Genetics Direct, which he started in 2017.
Oh, nice.
His son, Todd Jeffries, joined the company in 2019. And the company initially started out selling soybeans, alfalfa, and corn seeds, but then has since expanded its catalog to include wheat seeds and herbicide products. So Seed Genetics Direct's, seed selections are Eastern Corn Belt based, and are really considered for their agronomics first and yield second. Because Todd had really mentioned to me that if you have like 100, or 300, seeds and
Right.
they grow, but then they get diseases, what's really the point of that high yield if
Right.
they are not resistant
Yeah.
to diseases? So the company also conducts research on their seeds to ensure they're selling the best products and to also determine these future seed options.
Oh, okay.
So they have 27 research locations across Ohio and Indiana with 50 test plots of corn and soybeans growing side by side.
Neat.
And some of their fields are also used as Ohio State University research locations.
Oh,
So they really put a lot of focus on, just finding the best quality seeds that
Yeah.
they can have in their catalog and give to farmers.
that's really cool.
Yeah. So according to Todd, the mission at Seed Genetics Direct is really just to put the American farmers 1st. And to really, to find out more about that, what it means, and about Seed Genetics Direct, you can visit farmandairy.com or your local newsstand to read more about this really cool father-son run business.
Yeah, that sounds like neat. I would definitely have to check that out. I have a little garden space in my house right now, and I'm trying to determine what seeds I should grow there. So I'm going to have to check that out to get some ideas.
Yeah.
This year actually marks a major milestone for a local institution. Kaufman Realty and Auctions, which is gracing the front cover of our auction section this week, is celebrating 50 years in
Ooh.
business. Yeah,
Wow.
applause, which is 5 decades of hammer drops.
Yeah,
Which is
that's a long time.
Yes, realistic hitting deals and making a real commitment to serving people. It all began in 1975 with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Dave Kaufman. And he was armed with a handwritten ad that I guess he wrote into the Farm and Dairy and a vision for something much bigger. Maybe not what happened, but he got it anyway. David ran the entire operation himself.
Wow.
On auction day, he was both the auctioneer and the ringman, so he was like doing dual duties, running around all the things. Fast forward to today, and this is what I was talking about. This one-man show, where could he have guessed where this gone, has grown into a company with like 110 employees, 9 offices. They do business in like 5 states.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, like it has grown. He is very successful. The core philosophy, though, of the business remains, which is service first, and everything else comes after that. So they're very focused on serving their clients. Kaufman Realty and Auctions is also inviting the community to an open house on July 10th from 4 to 7 p.m. At their auction center in Sugar Creek, Ohio. And there will be food. There will be refreshments. There will be a whole lot of gratitude just going around, I think. So if you've ever raised a bid paddle before, or you've bought a property, or you just believe in the power of local business, definitely check it out and grab some food and have some fun.
Yeah.
And also, for those of you looking at the auction center, you will see a really cool little spread of some vintage photos of Kaufman like in action in those early days.
Wow.
So definitely kind of neat. I love stuff like that. So
I'll say that's really cool that they were able, like, they kept all those photographs so they can
Yeah.
see like the, growth, I guess, of the
For real.
company.
Yeah. And I believe that is
Yeah.
all of our tough stories in the paper this week.
Awesome. To read the full stories, go to farmanddairy.com or find your local newsstand.
Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.